In example 2, we're working backwards. We're still thinking dab C, but now we have the graph, and we have to figure out where's my center line. Something that's easy to see on the graph is that we know our minimums at -4 and our maximums at 6. How could you use those two numbers to find D? Find the middle of them. How do you find the middle of between two values?
You take the maximum and you add them together, then you divide it by 2.
Yeah, it's just an average. If I add them together, 6 plus -4, I get 2. 2 divided by 2 will be 1. So we know that our D value is 1. If you know that your D value is 1, you can actually, if you wanted to, we could draw our sinusoidal axis at y equals 1 on there. Now what's our amplitude? 5. The B value is going to be the one that's the most effort to calculate because your B value is related to your period. If you want to calculate your period, you need to figure out, if I choose a minimum, for example, when's the next minimum? And if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's 8 spaces. But you can't write 8 spaces in your equation. Amplitude is the distance from your center line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? If I want to look at my equation here, can you see that one space is half of pi over 6 would be pi over 12? 8 spaces would equal 8 pi over 12, which reduces to 2 pi over 3. Now, our B value isn't our period. We have formulas. We have the formula that says our period is 2 pi divided by our B value. And we also have a formula that says our B value is 2 pi divided by our period. So I'm going to say usually you'd use that second formula because you want to find your B value. If I want to find my B value, I would have 2 pi divided by my period, which is 2 pi divided by 3. How do you divide by a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal. 2 pi's nicely cancel out, and you get your B value is equal to 3. So normally I would say you would use this formula to calculate your B value. However, in this case, you could also use this one. If your period is 2 pi over your B value, and you know that your period is 2 pi over 3. My period is 2 pi over my B value, and my period happens to be 2 pi over 3. What could possibly be my B value? 3. So if you can reduce your period to be 2 pi over something, then you can calculate your B value really quickly, but just by observation. That's not always the case, so sometimes you will have to use that second formula, but either way, we can calculate our B value as 3.
So in the equation, would it be 1 over 3?
What's that?
In the equation, would it be 1 over 3?
In the equation, the B value is just going to be 3.
And so that means x by 1.
X by 1/3, which makes sense that your period would become 2 pi over 3. And finally, there's no dash. They didn't graph the dotted one before the shift. We have to find our C value. This question said in terms of sine. Where does our sine graph start? On the sinusoidal axis, going which way? On the sinusoidal axis, going? It has to be going up, right? Sinusoidal axis going up. That's 3 spaces to the right. 3 spaces to the right would be 3 pi over 12s, or pi over 4. And so when we write our equation, now that we've got all of our values, our A value is 5 sine. Our B value is 3 bracket. Shift pi over 4 to the right, so minus pi over 4. We should probably write the word right there. And then finally, our D value plus 1. You can add extra brackets here if you like. And we've got our equation. Can you see that if you had chosen that center line going up, you'd get a different equation? It would also be correct. That one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pi over 12s to the right. So then you would have x minus 11 pi over 12. It's the second period starting there. So there would be another one further down that would be right as well. You could also make a coast graph for this one if you pick the maximum point. Yes?
How do you find out that b was 3?
Well, we calculated it here using the formula. B is 2 pi over the period.
I meant like the translation, c.
The c, because a sine graph starts on the axis going up, and that's 3 spaces to the right,
Of like the y-axis.
right? From the y-axis, because that's where it normally starts.
Yeah.
And so that's a shift of 3 pi over 12s to the right. Okay, questions for this one are 4, 5, 6, and 7.